Pronounced, defined, used in lexical dispatch. Entrepreneur. Noun, entrepreneurial, entrepreneurially, entrepreneurialism, entrepreneurship. Someone who starts their own business, especially when this involves seeing a new opportunity. A stratagem. Noun, a trick or plan to deceive an enemy or gain an advantage. Gambit, ploy, artifice. If you are an entrepreneur looking for money from investors, consider carefully what I have described. Part of the fun of being an entrepreneur is taking risk. They wanted to find a way that investors share in the entrepreneur's upside, but that also limits the downside risk to the entrepreneur. The peer recruiting agent was an entrepreneur who arose in response to missing markets for labor for large-scale recruitment purposes. Studies show that many small entrepreneurs have been employed in the formal sector before setting up their own enterprises. A young property entrepreneur bought a vacant house, redecorated it, and sold it for twice the original value. In the very early stages of the evolution of a business concern, the entrepreneur is not much concerned with security. In general, I support the entrepreneur who brings and creates value for other people instead of endless naysaying. Along the spectrum of grift, there is a very fine line between a successful entrepreneur and a disgraced felon. He founded other companies and describes himself as a serial entrepreneur in healthcare. An inventor and tech entrepreneur, Kurzweil, had already accomplished more than most people do in a lifetime. She is a social entrepreneur committed to facilitating a transition to healthy, sustainable, and equitable low-carbon societies that live within ecological limits. Every entrepreneur uses different methods to validate an idea for starting a venture. No entrepreneur should ever think that it's a joyride or they are going to come away with just a couple bumps and bruises. We are at the beginning of our journey, so we are looking for entrepreneurial people to join in on this amazing ride and make a change. The company's success was a result of its ability to adapt entrepreneurially to market trends and customer demands. Whether new business startups or local business expansions, entrepreneurialism and business growth is the path to jobs. I think entrepreneurship isn't about the money, but about the lifestyle it allows. At the same time, he tried desperately to think of some stratagem or cunning ploy. It's more of a stratagem where the advertising has slowly ebbed its way into the fashion editorial department. Gene therapy currently rates as number one stratagem to definitively impact the course of the disease. As a source of invention, fancy in the poem mediates between poetic inspiration and military stratagem. But what he needs to defeat his interdimensional adversary is a practical stratagem. Some cosmologists say that this was more of a necessary stratagem than a well-justified assumption. Beyond that, he uses every deduction and stratagem allowed, including the offshore accounts. The explorer employed resourceful stratagems to survive in the harsh wilderness. A man of exploits, Odysseus claims credit for the Trojan horse stratagem when, in fact, others had also been so inspired. The regime resorted to elections as a stratagem to split the opposition even more and to neutralize the hardliners within the regime.